and welcome to the Los Angeles International Film Festival. We're here and we have a fantastic panel about women in film, and I'm joined by Jenna Suru, Liza van der Smissen, Nancy Puetz, Nicole Lieberman, and Rebekah Louisa Smith. So what I would like everyone to do is just tell our audiences about who you are and what it is you do and why you're here on the Women in Film panel. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. Thanks so much for having us, Natasha. It's nice to see some similar faces too. I'm Jenna Suru. I'm the filmmaker behind the Golden Age, which opened your amazing festival, the other one, because you run a lot. And I make films about artists struggling with acceptance of their roles in the world. And so that obviously involves women. I'm very passionate about female-led films and stories around them. So I also run the Paris International Film Festival, and I've worked for Canneseries until the very beginning of the kickstart of the first edition. And I work a lot with these festivals for diversity, inclusive content, and to push eco-friendly filmmaking and diversity behind and in front of the camera.
Excellent, thank you, Jenna. Nan, do you want to go next?
Thank you. First of all, I'm honored to be among these women here. It always inspires me more to be in the presence of other women whose drive and commitment is to this industry, as well as how we can help other people by sending that elevator down and bringing them up so that we all rise together. I'm constantly inspired and motivated by that. I am, and I have been on the International Women in Film Board of Directors. This is my third term. I just finished being Vice President of International Women in Film, and now I'm a board member of Women in Film, again, in the third term. And that is inspiring to me because I have a chance to bring information and provide mentorship and not really leadership. We really like to say that we in front of somebody, we hold their hand and bring them forward. When we're next to somebody, we walk together, and we're not afraid to stand behind and push the other people forward. So it's really helpful to be involved in that organization, which is in over 50 countries, and to learn what they're doing. This year, we reached into Africa, to the continent, and we have some really strong commitments from Nigeria, and we're in the Cote d'Ivoire, and we are in Ghana, and we are in South Africa, of course. And boy, listening to their tales, and one of our board members, I mean, it's just really inspiring period, especially with what's going on with SARS in Nigeria. I mean, people are dying in the streets, and one of our board members is documenting that. So those kind of inspirations that we sit here, I'm really proud to be a citizen of the United States, but I'm also very much consider myself really first a world child. So I'm really thankful to be in the world and listen to their stories and understand how they affect me and hoping that I can help them. So that's why I'm in Women in Film.
That's really fantastic. Thank you for joining us today, Nancy. So, Rebekah, tell us about what you do.
Hi, all. So my name's Rebekah, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company called the Film Festival Doctor. And what we do is oh my goodness, hang on. Sorry, something just popped up then on my phone. So let's start again. So my name's Rebekah. And I'm CEO and founder of a company called the Film Festival Doctor. And what we do is we create for our clients successful film festival strategies to get their films seen in the right film festivals around the world. We work with filmmakers from all over the world, predominantly UK, USA, and South Africa. And we work with female filmmakers and obviously male filmmakers. And we've helped our clients win over 850 awards so far, which is exciting. And I'm a big firm believer of strong females and strong female directors and creatives. So I love championing all my clients who are female in that regard. And they've all done really well, and they always make amazing films.
Excellent. And Rebekah, you also have a book out at the moment, so just tell us about that.
Yes, so I have a book out called Born to Do It, Becoming the Leader of a Business Niche Using the Power of Spiritual Techniques and Business Practices. And in this book, it teaches you how to tap into your soul purpose so you can figure out what it is that you were born to do, what you put on this earth to do. And then the book explains how to start up your first business using the key kind of business practices and also spiritual techniques to draw upon to fuse together so that you create the business that your heart and soul desires. And it's out now.
We could all do with.
Yeah, it's a good stocking filler to go on your own and not rely on companies in case you get furloughed.
What's the name of the book?
It's called Born to Do It.
Excellent. So Nicole and Liza, do you want to tell us a bit about what you guys are doing?
Yes, so I'm the co-founder of the Female Film Club, which I started with Liza. The Female Film Club is the online networking platform for international female filmmakers. And it's really nice to be on a panel with everyone who's a member in the app. So it's really exciting. We started the Female Film Club during COVID. Liza, do you want to say some more?
Yeah, we started when the whole world went into lockdown and our projects were cancelled. We both work independently also as producers, and yeah, we were feeling very disconnected from the whole film industry, and we thought, what does the whole world need now? Because actually we're more connected than ever because everybody feels the same way. And what we came up with was an international online platform. Everything is online, so we host workshops, we do events, we discuss films. Sometimes we have films on there that people can screen. There's forums, for collaboration, for connection, for inspiration. It's a platform, doing it all. But as Nicole said, everybody here is a member, so everybody here knows what's it about.
Everyone's connected. And that's the important thing. So let's talk a little bit more about Female Film Club. So why did you set up the Female Film Club specifically? What was the inspiration behind that over setting up a film club about something else?
Me and Liza worked on a short film together previously. It was called Next. We decided together to have an all-female crew, which we in the end ended up having a 70% female crew, and we're also happy to work with men in the crew. The whole idea behind it was that we believe that there needs to be more space for women within the industry, for crew, for director roles, for composers, for different positions. And that idea then grew, and we always believed that the female narrative is so important to tell. And it's different when you have a safe space to talk in. It's different when you have a safe space to express yourself in. It's very much not, we always say we're not anti-men, and there's so many amazing male directors out there that do a brilliant job, and I love their films as well. But this is a club where we can express ourselves freely, have conversations, look at films from the female gaze, from the female angle, and just be free to be ourselves in a sense, without any ego, without any. Liza, do you want to continue?
Yeah, it's really nice to, what we hope that it would be. It's actually, we're seeing now women lift each other up and empowering each other, which sometimes in the world and in the industry, women are put up against each other, or there's this feeling of struggle, or that you have to go against each other. And in the club, women are really lifting each other up, they're empowering each other, they're cheering each other on. And as we have everything online, everything is mother friendly, so we have women with their children around, or breastfeeding, or we can talk about really sensitive subjects, and because our calls are capped at 10 to 15 people maximum, everything stays really personal and intimate, even though it is online and it is international. We have people from like I think 17 different countries now, it still feels very one-on-one and personal, like you would meet someone. And we thought in order to achieve this, we go for a female film club. It was kind of our whole way into it. I studied also feminist film theory, and Nicole comes from a human rights background where she did a master's in. So combining that two, it seemed like a logical step.
Yes. And we also felt there was a need, to be honest. And the fact that we see so many members and the amount growing means that there was a need. There is a niche. Women feel like they need this space to, like Liza said, lift each other up, communicate with each other.
And to feel kind of you're part of a sisterhood. And you don't have to do it all by yourself.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So Nan, tell us a little bit about you're involved with so many different initiatives and helping different countries, different parts.
It makes me sound vainglorious, but I'm actually doing these things because I feel like they're important, and it's opening up stepping stones for other women and people in general to come to the arts, because more than anything, I believe that arts build communities. You know, we do the ABC, arts build communities when communities support the arts. So I'm the founder director of the Franklin International Film Festival. Last year we had 82 films from 14 countries, which we're pretty thrilled about. This morning, just before I got on, I was watching an incredible film, which I want to recommend to all of you, because I really like female-centric, female-written and directed films from the indigenous genre. And I just saw an amazing film, which I'm going to send information on it to all of you, because it's just amazing, Native American, terrific. But anyway, so besides that and being Vice President of Women in Film, I am the President of Tennessee Women in Film, which is kind of an umbrella over the state. And the other thing that I didn't mention yesterday, is I'm the President of the Williamson County Cultural Arts Commission. And all of these things, really, they're not like, oh, la-di-da. They're more all integrated with each other. That's what they are. And I'm a producer, and right now I'm covering 2 scripts, and I'm producing 2 films, features.
Oh,
wow. So,
because I'm home with COVID, I get to do all this stuff.
yeah.
I haven't left my house but twice since February. Seriously.
So yesterday we were talking about financing and how being a female director might influence whether the financing at different levels, and there are different opportunities. So let's talk a little bit about that, Nan, because I'm really interested in this topic. How can we create more opportunities for women? Are all these things that we're doing, are they enough, or what is really the problem?
Well, I think it's never enough. Never enough, everything that we do. Because as I said yesterday, I think that women have to do more. We have to run the race faster, and we have to have the wherewithal to stay longer, you know, in that. So I find that a film that takes a man 2 years to make might take a woman 4 years to make, because they're expected to do more and reach a higher level. So knowing that, I think that sure, we get no's, but I think that we really have to investigate every single thing that's out there that could possibly help us. I don't ever believe in spending my own money on a film. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I do everything that I can, and I don't start work on a film until I've got all the ducks with at least a 70% agreement that they're there before I start. So it's a 70-30 in the sense that 70% of it's there, then we'll put that other 30 in the sense of our sweat equity to get it done. In the United States, and now they've branched out into the world, there's a lot of opportunities out there for women, not just starting, and it starts with scripts, sure, but also places where women can plow the field and dig up that money, or also that entree to the place where money could be. For example, Meryl Streep gave over $100,000 towards helping women who were script writers over the age of 40. You know, that's inspiring. It gets 2 days worth of news on the front page, moves to page 120, and by a year from then, nobody's talking about that. So much before they ever start needs to be in the space of research, search. Everybody and anybody who has grants before you think about Kickstarter or anything, because you have to find out if there's public money in the United States available, which there generally is. And then there's lots of wonderfully supportive women's organizations. And you have to look at the individual chapter of the Women in Film. LA Women in Film has like 5 great scholarships for women. Washington, D.C. has a wonderful program for women. Women in Hollywood and Women Make Movies and that girls club that I told you guys about, they're going to be providing monies. And then there's lots of, anyways, research. It's there. It's there. Not as, you have to go to more sources, because where a guy can go get, sign his name for a deal memo that gives him $10 million, women, I think, generally still have to have 100 different sources.
Yeah. And Jenna, you're doing amazing things with Paris International Film Festival and other things as well. Tell us a little bit about that. You really promote diversity through the different things that you're doing. And tell us what you're doing and why you think that's important to do.
I think that's really important to do because females have such great stories to tell. And distributors are really interested in buying content that are female-led, that are directed by females, because as we can see, just to take an example, Parasite was directed by a man, but it's the first non-English film to actually win the Academy Award, and our audiences are craving for newer content. In the current pandemic, more and more, and they love to see a new voice like female gaze, and female-led stories are so exciting. We have so many amazing female figures to tell stories about. So at the festival with Paris, we really go the extra mile because we do promote and champion females. Rebekah does this really well because she's sending us wonderful films from her filmmakers. Her filmmakers have really, really amazing work. And I really can see what she does with pushing women. Because I think it's really important to understand what female-led means. Because obviously it's about what's on the screen, but also behind camera, what really is happening. For instance, a film that is written by a female, if it's directed by a male, and I'm sure we all heard that so many times, it can be interpreted in a way that can be from feminist to sexist, really. So that's really important. At the festival, we have some special opportunities we offer females, for instance, with Nicole and Liza, with distribution opportunities. Their club is really amazing, and I really thank them for all they're doing for females. Also, we are having a separate award. So we'll reveal that soon. We actually, of course, we have an award for performances, but we're gonna have an award for a character, a performance that shows something different from what we would see in the screen, which would be male gaze. Like there's a character I'm really proud of, which is my character in the Golden Age, because she, for those who've seen the film, in the film, she behaves in a way that is not the usual way. And that is something that actually exists in reality because females are extremely resilient usually, but it's something we need to see more on camera. There are things, it's interesting that cinema should show new voices and should show incredible stories, but we know of all these scripts where this is not even, what's happening is not even, it's not even realistic. There's females behave in ways that are really not here on the screen, and we need to see a lot more of that, so it actually means something. So the festival really works on all of these dimensions. We've realized, as you say, Nancy, that indeed females don't have the same financing opportunity, and I'm so thankful for all you do, because that's extremely important. That also exists in distribution, and also we must help them along the way. This is why at the festival we have opportunities along the year to educate them, to help them have the keys so they can actually make their films, because it's great to promote their work and celebrate them but they actually need to get there. And for this, we need a lot of support and solidarity and more role models like Meryl Streep, who I love, by the way. She's definitely one of my models. She's amazing in so many ways.
Excellent. That's fantastic, Jenna. So Nicole and Liza, you said you made a film last year called Next, which is a great short film. And you were pushing to have more women behind the scenes as well. So tell us a bit more about that.
So our passion for the club started also because we love film festivals, and that's why it's so exciting to be on a panel with all of you being so heavily involved with film festivals, because Nicole and I would go to these film festivals and see these brilliant stories from, like these female filmmakers and female characters from parts of the world that we don't understand the language from. It's a different culture. And after the film festival, we would never be able to see the film or find it anywhere. We're like, we need to promote these non-English language films made by women, or have a gaze from the female, like Rachel Morrison. The DOP is incredible, what she did with Mudbound, with Dee Rees, and many other DOPs and women that we worked for behind the camera have been so great, but they don't always get the opportunity because people don't know them. And I think many of us know in the film industry, you get a call, hey, do you have a recommendation? Do you know someone? I need a costume designer, this or that. Nicole, do you want to take over?
So when we did Next, following from your question, we decided that we did want an all-female crew. We went for a female DOP, which wasn't as easy to find as I would have thought. We went for a female sound, and I actually had to fly someone all the way from Spain because it was so difficult to find a woman that did sound here. I just found that it wasn't as easy as I thought to get together an all-female crew. Like I said before, we did end up working with men as well. And what we understood is that it's about giving everyone equal opportunities, I think, at the end of the day. And I think that should also be in every crew, in every film. And I think following up from what Liza just said, I think the problem with female directors is, and especially what's been happening in the female film club, is even myself, I've been educating myself. There's been so many films directed by women, and I never knew it was directed by a woman because nobody ever made any noise about it. It just stayed in the background, and you knew the name of the film, you knew who the actors was, but you never knew who the director was. And I was like, oh my God, I've loved this film. It was directed by a woman. So I think it's about educating ourselves that the industry is so vast, that there's so many roles within the industry, that there are amazing female DPs, amazing female directors, amazing female sound recorders, but we need to know their names as well. We need to celebrate them. And I don't think we just need to celebrate the male names. So it's about kind of an inclusive industry that we're all trying to promote. It's not about women being better than men. It's not about men being better than women. It's about all of us having equal rights and opportunities, and it's celebrating all the talents out there. And it is harder if you're a woman. So I think there needs to be that extra push. So even with the club, we're trying to give it kind of that extra boost, like Jenna is doing, like Nancy's doing, like Rebekah is doing, like you're doing, Natasha. Like all of us need to do it together, because if we raise our voices louder, then eventually we'll reach some kind of an equal system where these names are famous names, because we'll know of them, because we would know whose film we're watching, and because the press is writing about them. So it's also about educating others so that this inclusivity is coming from all angles, because the minute these names are known, it's going to be so much easier to raise finances as well. So you don't need to push through the lines and do what a lot of men don't have to do, because it comes so easily to them.
Part of that is social media, right? Where we see a film that's great, led by a woman or whatever, and then we throw that out there and tell everybody, put this on your bucket list. Mm. That's how, another way we all help. That's Female Film Club right there.
Exactly.
Film festivals.
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about statistics. There are, I mean, it's so varied. So, for example, here at the Los Angeles International Film Festival, about half of the panelists are women. So on the panels, we have 50-50 pretty much split. But in terms of how many of our films are directed by women, it's probably about 2/3 directed by men and 1/3 by women. So, Rebekah, in your experience, do you have more clients who are male than female? And maybe also, Nan, you might have some statistics to share as well.
Yeah, so yes, predominantly I tend to have more male director clients than female director clients. At the time, females can be in the producing side with a male director, but I'm finding that when I get films that are directed by women, or and more of a women crew and cast, it tends to be more short films than feature films. I think it's like the point we just made earlier in the beginning of the conversation, that when it seems to be that maybe there's a lot of no's for getting a feature funded in the way that normally should get funded for women, or when it is with a man. I know there is in the US, there are some like funds for females, but it still seems to be, I think, shorts, which is great because I mean, I've seen, with the Female Film Club, I've seen some fantastic short films directed by their members when I have one-to-ones with them. Obviously, Jenna is amazing; she's done a feature, but I don't think it's a few and far between. But the shorts I see directed by women are like strong to the point where they win really big awards at film festivals that we get them into, and they go really far. And one of them got like shortlisted for an Oscar. So it was like, wow, it's a female director. So, this, got to the point where it almost, not doing the final 5, but it got close. So it's good to see just the diverse range of talent that women can bring and how unique it is. I think it's, and I say different to men, I think it's just sometimes men maybe think they might have more of an aggressive and stronger vision, but I think it's the same, because I think women as well are really in their filmmaking just as equally passionate and just as fierce.
Can I just say one comment on that, if it's okay, Tash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the issues maybe why a lot of women, and with Liza we spoke to different international female filmmakers as well in different industry. We had a chat with a producer from Israel, and she actually said that the reason that so many women don't actually end up making a feature film is because they lack self-confidence to even do that funding application, to even give it a go, to even push themselves. So they'll maybe get to the short film, they'll do quite well, but then they still lack the nourishment from their surroundings in order to then give them that extra push to go that extra mile, which men have from their surroundings. So from what I've been seeing, that's another issue. I mean, Liza, what were the statistics in Israel?
It was 20% of the applications came from women, if I remember correctly, because they just didn't believe they would get the funding. And that's also what we hear with members in our club, because we do have regular sessions also about getting your stuff made and daring to do things, because I think the mindset is so important, just as much as the filmmaking, believing that your story is good enough, believing that the story that we have been told is a fantastic film is not the only storyline which is a fantastic film. Whatever women have to say is just as valuable. Just because we haven't been growing up with learning about their stories doesn't mean that they aren't valuable. And I think this is why I'm so passionate about the club, to make everyone feel what you have to say is valuable. And it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what language you speak, what you have to say is just as valuable as Tarantino or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's if we don't think we're half the sky, nobody else is going to think that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't help that a lot of the finances are a certain branch, and I don't want to generalize, but it is
for now, middle. There's so many women stepping up.
And so, of course, when you come with a very much female gay story or this crazy flawed female character, they're like, how do I sell this? This won't sell. This is not going to make me money. But I think if slowly this concept is starting to change, because there is money in it as well. And we've seen that with even TV shows like Fleabag, which has done amazing. She's such a flawed female character and everyone loved her. Men watched her, they really understood it. So I think slowly.
Well, think about the fact that if this isn't just a lark, or like, I'm really cute and I'm really fun, I think I'll make a film and get all my friends involved, and that might be great, it might be shit. I was just going to say that that if it wasn't a bloody career that some women believed in, and I use this as an example in the classes that I teach, is that in the 85 years of the Academy Awards, a woman cinematographer, and DPs have been there forever as women, hard to find as you say, but they've been there since the beginning, and yet they've only been nominated once, and she won. But the point I'm making is that if they didn't believe that that was what they wanted to do and they could do it, all those years without a single solitary award, they would have walked away and done something else. Which would have been easier. I sat there and I listened to a woman who was asked by a young girl, my God, I'd love to be in this industry. What would you direct me towards doing? I'm just taking general film classes now. And this lady looks at her and she says, honey, you could probably do anything except camera. And of course, me, with the steam rolling out of my ears, I said, why is that? And she said, honey, everyone knows the camera equipment is too heavy for a woman. I'm thinking of all of us have dragged cameras around and dragged equipment our whole career. When you start at the bottom like I did, you do everything. So the idea, don't carry that, honey, I'll get it. I've never heard that.
Of course.
So, we have to sometimes fight women to see us differently. Not really fight them, but we have to educate them,
Can I just chime in with just on that point again? I have quite a few clients from South Africa, and predominantly all the films that come in are by male directors and maybe sometimes female producers. But there have been several films, just a small handful, that have been female directors from SA. And it's actually quite encouraging and quite refreshing to see that the funders behind them are, they all tend to be male. They're really pushing it because they're like, oh, it's a female director. Oh, it's a black female director, this kind of thing. And they get really excited, but they also, you show like a real passion for female filmmaking from the men over in that country, which is actually, I think, not the same everywhere, but from that particular territory, they really do get behind their female directors. And these films that we worked with on them have done really well, and they actually sold commercially well in South Africa, and they did the circuit as well, and they were, they were strong, well-made films by women that were also very driven, and they had support of men behind them, and obviously me.
It's really interesting.
Awesome.
Interesting to see.
Well, I think you said that you wanted me to answer a question about funding. Did you want me to do that, or did you have other people to ask first?
No, I was just wondering about the different statistics and what we can really do to help each other and other women, and what did each person think we specifically, each and every one of us, can do straight away? What's going to make the change?
I think we have to instruct people on the 4F program that's now recognized by IMDb, which means and they might not know about it. I mean, as I say, this news information comes out, everybody knows, and then nobody knows. It drops off the map. But the F rating, which is if it's written by a female, if it's then produced by a female, if it's directed by a female, that adds on your Fs. And the real importance of the F rating is that it's on your IMDb if you ask for it to be put there and ascertain that you are. So I always try to recommend that. Also, I think that the commitment to saying we are a 50-50 film festival, and we signed that agreement with Cannes and all these other people, that it's important for people to know that there's something we want to do to even the playing field. And then there is the Reframe program out of Women in Film Los Angeles, which is WIF.org. And Reframe, by helping a writer in that space write women into roles one would think of as a male, such as police detective or secret agent or whatever. Women aren't just put on glasses and be the science teacher or be the female romantic lead. Helping people reframe. There's also money for films made that adhere to the reframe, and that's a rating that also goes on your film. That's all I have.
Yeah.
And maybe to jump on that question, yes, Natasha, I think obviously it's the distribution job and also festival's job to really promote female filmmakers. Also, we're also focusing on what we can control for ourselves, right? Because right now we're really understanding that what females can do and must do is to educate themselves as much as they can and not stay isolated. Because I think it's about, you mentioned percentage, is it about 3% of Hollywood movies which are directed by females? Like it's a very small percentage. So statistically, it becomes really easy to feel isolated. And I'm sure we've all worked on films where everyone is male, right? Especially in the decision-making roles. And you can feel very isolated as a female, or at least like there's a lot of testosterone around. So it's really important to really find that support and that community. This is why it's important to be part of a club like Nicole and Liza's have, or partner with Rebekah, because you really need the solidarity and the community. I think it's important to remind that to females, education is really important as it comes to both filmmakers and audiences. And that also obviously involves men. It's important, just like you would do for anything you buy at the supermarket. You probably want to know where it's been made, right? And you probably want to be careful if it's made in an eco-friendly way. Well, same thing about films. It's important to check who was it made by? How many females? Like, have you ever wondered the films you love so much? Who is behind them? And when you see a film directed by a woman, do you share her work? Do you buy her work? Because you should. Because this is how, like, I think we often talk about females as something really general and big numbers, but it's really simple. Like if you have a sister or a female partner, do you support her in her work? Do you share her work? Do you encourage her? Because that's extremely important. And also it's important to really also, I think, show how much you appreciate films that are also made by women.
Yeah.
From Jenna, I think exactly the same. I think it's so important to support each other and elevate each other. And I think it starts in everyday life. And sometimes we all get discouraged and we think, where is this project going? Or do I have the capacity to do this? And I think if we get together and we create a community and we really help and elevate and support each other, and I think then we can grow. And always, you know, if someone needs a piece of advice and dedicate the time and help them, we all of us here on the panel also, we all have different expertise. I would go to Rebekah if I need advice on film festival strategy. And Natasha, you're an amazing producer. And Nancy, you've helped us so much. And Jenna as well, you've got so many great, you've made your own film and you're running your own film festivals. So each one of us has got so many niche expertise. And if each one of us helps each other, then that is like a daily thing. We grow and we become stronger and we become bigger. And then there's no stopping us anymore.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with that. Everyone should become a member if you're not already of the Female Film Club. For me, it's a bit weird what I like to see change. It's something that's been on my mind for a while is at festivals, sometimes some festivals do have, and it's not a problem if they have it, it's great, but there is a Best Female Director award. I just like to see just a one award, just Best Director, not just for female, because I think everyone's entitled to it. It doesn't have to be just especially for female. I know that Berlin are going to like do a gender neutral acting award for when they run next year, so there'll be no Best Actor or Best Actress, just Best Performance, or you know, just that kind of thing, or best actor thing it might be. But either way, it's not going to be separate awards for men and females. So I would like to see maybe not as many Best Female Director awards. It makes it feel a bit like minority. It's like it to be just all inclusive, like, you know, just gender neutral, Best Director. It doesn't matter what you are, male or female or whatever you identify as, just that you win that award. That's what I like to see that change eventually. I mean, it's not a problem, that right now is great, but it'd be nice to see that, you know, change a bit to get more equality.
Women in Film has its first LGBTQ trans chapter in Sweden, which I think is fabulous.
Wow.
And, because when we needed to add non-binary, because it was very limiting just being women in film. So we had to demonstrate that we support all, and that if, you know, that it wasn't just, if they weren't comfortable, people weren't comfortable being in a traditional chapter, let them create what they want, because we have a big tent.
Yeah.
I love that. And I just want to add also, all these amazing women already said so much, but where your energy goes is where the power goes, is where the money goes. So if we put and redirect our gaze just a tiny bit more to what films have been produced by women, what Kickstarter am I funding, who is behind it, which names am I promoting. Even when, you know, Christmas is coming up, you're going to call people, what are you going to watch, what recommendations do you have, what are you going to mention. I think all of these steps in a little bit will make a massive impact, because they will recommend it, their name will get more out there, they will get easier funded, and all the things we spoke about.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, that's a very inspiring thing to end on there. All the little things we can do, and hopefully all our audiences can as well. So I just want to say thank you to all our panelists today. So thank you, Jenna, Liza, Nancy, Nicole, and Rebekah, for sharing all your thoughts with us today. And thank you to our audiences for watching.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you so much, Natasha.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.